And we're back with another episode of the Lakers Fast Break Podcast. It's Gerald Glassford coming right back at you here from Pop Culture Cosmos, Game Source, Inside Sports Fantasy Football, and of course, the Lakers Fast Break. We truly appreciate everyone out there listening to all of our great shows. And if you can, please give us a 5-star review wherever you get your podcasts. Plus, if you can like, subscribe, and be part of what we're doing here because when you subscribe, you get the latest notifications on when we go live on the air with our awesome shows, NBA observations, Do You Know Your Lakers Trivia, Lakers History 101, Magic Man in the Morning, the Lakers Snack Pack, and of course our awesome post games. So you get the latest notifications on when we go live on the air with those. Plus, if you can support us right here at the Lakers Fast Break, Pop Culture Cosmos, where we cover the latest news and trends in pop culture each and every week, twice a week. Of course, our good friends at Simblades, Mr. Joe Soro driving home from the game, San Diego game, that is. Go ahead and support him today at Simblades, SimbladesWithAY.com, or check him out as Ox1947 at LakersBall.com. You know, Laker Tom is happy. You heard him yesterday. You know, you got to go ahead and check out what he's writing about when it comes to the Lakers at Lakerholics.com. Jamie Sweet will have his 5 Things articles up as well, so go ahead and check it out today at Lakerholics.com. Also, as well, you want to go ahead and check out our good friend Stone Hansen, who does such a sensational job with the guys at the Upside Swings NBA Draft Podcast. So go ahead and check them out today at the Upside Swings NBA Draft Podcast. And if you can support all that, including our good friend, Mr. John McCalian, I'm just so happy for you, man. You've lost 30 pounds already. Your target goal, you're on your way to doing that. So proud of you, my friend. Go ahead and check out his journey as he showcases it, plus some great conversations as well on the John McCalian channel. So subscribe to that as well. And if you could do all that, it is sincerely appreciated. But I also have a big shout out for each and every one of you who was part of our Game 1 post-game coverage of the NBA playoffs between the Lakers and the Grizzlies. Huge numbers for us, huge amount of subscribers, and I cannot thank you enough from all of us right here at the Lakers Fast Break. But it is the NBA playoffs. The game just ended in Sacramento, and I'll tell you what, it was a little bit more physical, to say the least. A little bit more Draymond Green, to say the least, as they got a really physical there. He got ejected for trying to go ahead and use Domantas Sabonis as a springboard after Domantas Sabonis tried to go ahead and grab his leg. Well, he tried to use his ribs as far as a bouncing point, as we saw there if you're watching the game. But you know what? I don't think he'll be suspended for it. He may, I don't know, but heading into game 3, we'll talk about that series coming up. We'll talk about all the NBA series, plus also as well, want to focus in on what the Magic Man says about Austin Reaves and Rui Hachimura. Can we get good performances from them again in game 2? We'll find out his thoughts coming up on the show as well. But it is, of course, the man behind so much of what we do here at the Lakers Fast Break. It is the Magic Man indeed, the Man from Toronto. He is out of Toronto traffic to go ahead and join us on NBA Observations, the host of Magic Man in the Morning, and also many of our Lakers snack packs. It is the Magic Man, Sean Grice. And Sean, I guess before we go into the Lakers, because it's obviously where most of our crowd wants to go, I do want to talk about some of the NBA playoff action. The Brooklyn series between Brooklyn and Philadelphia, that looks like it's, as Matt Hardy would say, over, because it is over already after 2 games where Philadelphia has clearly laid themselves to be a class and a level above the Brooklyn Nets. Very interesting what we're seeing, though, in Sacramento. Let's talk about that game as Sacramento wins in a home game, number 2, 2 games in a row. They're leading 2-0 on the Golden State Warriors, the defending champions. Why does it not concern me right now that they're up 2-0? I have a feeling this is going to go 7, and it's all dependent on if Golden State ever takes a road game in Sacramento.
Absolutely, Gerald. I kind of felt the same thing. If I was in the Warriors locker room or on that team, I wouldn't be breaking a sweat over necessarily being down 0-2. You got game 3 coming up at home. You should be able to take that one. It's a must win. So I'd expect them to bounce back and win that game. They really, game 1 was really a toss up. It could have went either way. Sacramento played the better game of the two teams, so they won. They deserve to win. This game, it's almost as if the Warriors were giving Sacramento an opportunity. Just just take it away, and it just seemed that for whatever reason, Sacramento's momentum it didn't carry over to game 2.
Because
This
Golden State tried to muck it up. They tried to be really physical, even more so than in game one, much more so than game one. Game one was all about flying around offense. I absolutely loved it. Thought it was a fun game for me to watch as an NBA fan. Game two was more physical, was more playoff centric in that sense, more like what Joe was looking for in a playoff game. I'll leave it at that. But to me, though, you're right. It seemed like Sacramento at several points in time left the door open for Curry and Thompson to create some magic. It didn't seem like they had quite enough, though, to get the job done.
No, not at all, Gerald. Steph had one of his worst shooting games from beyond the arc in the playoffs in some time. He's 3 of 13.
Mhm.
He just seemed that his shot was off tonight, and you know, he he was able to drive, but that's mostly because as you've stated before, as much as Sacramento can score 132, they can give up 128 just as easily. So it almost was like Moses parting the Red Sea at some points in the fourth quarter with Steph being able to drive and Gary Payton being able to cut and Andrew Wiggins. It just seemed that he was able to do, what he can as a point guard, but as a
You
combo
say
guard.
that though. You say that though, and the much maligned Sacramento defense held Golden State to 106 points. If you would have told me that before the start of the series, I would have said that's incredible from the standpoint of Sacramento.
Oh, 100%. I mean, how many times are you going to see the Warriors shoot 32% from beyond the arc? That's 13
Exactly.
of 40. That's likely not going to happen again. So, like you said, Gerald, the Warriors couldn't hit from deep, so they were just trying to muck it up and trying to extend the game as long as they could. Unfortunately, they kind of unraveled there. In the middle of the fourth quarter, and it started with Draymond Green and Sabonis having a little tete-a-tete of their own that distracted away from the game. So we were actually watching. Me and Gerald, and I'm sure millions of other people were watching more Sabonis and Green rather than the actual Kings and Warriors through that sequence.
I will tell you this though, with Domantas Sabonis, he might actually, after he files charges at the local police station in Sacramento, he might actually get a full ice bath, and I'm talking from head to toe, because literally he got hit and popped at some point in time during the game from head to toe. His jaw, side of the head, he got in the legs. He was grabbing, they, what? Obviously, his ribs when Draymond Green jumped off of them. So yeah, just really a hard time for Sabonis, but they got the job done anyways. And again, it goes to Golden State. But again, I'm also thinking that Golden State is such a tremendous home team, and they've been down like this before. So this is not anything really to them, that they're going to tie it up. The question is, can Golden State take a game in Sacramento? I think that's what's just going to come down to.
Yeah, the crowd was really on top of them again tonight. It was hard for Steve Kerr to communicate sets with the guys. It seemed like he was just trying to run out to half court just so he can yell at them and so they can understand what he's trying to call out. I don't know, Gerald. The Warriors finished with one of the worst road records of a top six team in NBA history. They won less than 10 games on the road. That's really bad. Even for even for a play-in team, that'd be terrible. For a top 6, it's absolutely atrocious. So, is it possible that the Warriors win 1 out of 4 road games? It's possible. Um, you know,
Well, it's
10.
going to have to be possible because that's what they have to do in order to win the series.
Yes, yes. I would say it's 50-50 right now, Gerald. I
Well,
wouldn't put past the Sacramento Kings to just win all 4 home games.
well, they're such a bad road team overall this season. It's hard for me to believe that they're going to get it done. But in order for them to go ahead and move on to the next round, they're going to have to get it done on the road in Sacramento, and they haven't as of yet, and that's why they're down 2-0. Again, the other matchup this evening was Brooklyn and the Philadelphia 76ers, with Philadelphia 76ers laying waste again to the Brooklyn Nets 96-84 in a game that really wasn't all that competitive in the second half. Do you see Brooklyn getting a game from this? I mean, Joel didn't even have to be dominant today. He got 19 rebounds, but only 20 points. Tyrese Maxey was 33. I think it was his score. Do they? I mean, seriously, do you think that's going to be a sweep? Do you think Brooklyn's even going to get a game from them?
I thought if there was going to be a game to get, Gerald, it was probably that first half. They were only up by 5 at halftime. Felt like they should have been up by half a dozen, 15
Mhm.
points at least. Philly couldn't hit a pea into the ocean uh, for about 15 straight minutes. So I thought, if Brooklyn was gonna probably get a game, it'd be either that first half or game 3. But something tells me, man, this is gonna be a sweep now. I thought the Nets were good for a game, but and I'll still profess, like you and Nick and myself have talked about, they have the best others in the NBA collectively, but for some reason Jacques Vaughn is not playing Cam Thomas through 2 games. I'm not sure why. I haven't really recalled Yuta Watanabe playing either. So I guess Jacques Vaughn's just shortened his bench and decided this is who he's going to roll with. And I guess it's going to be a sweep.
That's surprising with Watanabe because he was doing so well for a great portion of the season. Actually, was leading the league at 3-point shooting at one time. So that's something to be considerate of when you go ahead and think about whether or not that Brooklyn can take a game. Mark says, "How does Draymond Green keep getting away with such dirty plays? Stomping on a player is not stepping on a player." He could say that he was retaliating because of the grabbed leg by Domantas Sabonis. I personally think he will get no more than a fine. I have to see it to believe it that they're going to suspend him because it's not an outright kick in the nuts like he's done before, as we've seen already in playoff action. But I will say, though, that even without him, they will win game 3. Golden State right now, you can pretty much count on it because they're so much better at home. I really think that they're going to win games 3 and 4, send it back to Sacramento. And again, the question becomes, can Sacramento go ahead and win all 4 home games? Or will Golden State actually be able to take one each, despite the fact that they're such a horrendous road team this season?
Mhm.
We'll find out on that. But there are other great series. And again, yes, we will be covering the Lakers on the back end of the show. We wanted to go ahead and touch on the playoffs real quick because without the playoffs in total, it wouldn't be a basketball fan's dream right now because we're getting so much great NBA action. I will say though that the Milwaukee Bucks, they have some concerns, but it looks like Giannis Antetokounmpo did survive the scare. I know you had mentioned that he had cracked his tailbone. X-rays actually came up negative. So let's just say it's a very bruised tailbone as he heads back into the lineup on I believe Tuesday for their game 2. So your thoughts on this, my friend, because I think that Milwaukee is going to get it done this time around.
Yeah, Gerald. When I saw him fall, I looked on social media at some of the Bucks reporters and other people who cover Milwaukee sports, and there was concern that the injury was more serious than it actually turned out to be. Like the whole arena went into a almost like a deathly silence. It was eerie. Glad to see Giannis is all right, and there's going to be a healthy Bucks team moving forward. Yeah, that was probably Miami's game to take. That Giannis was out for the game, so I don't see them taking another game. I half expect the Bucks to dominate probably the next two or three,
Oh,
and
I think
maybe
they'll take the next 4.
yeah, I wouldn't expect much of a fight from Miami unless they want to win Game 3 or 4 in South Beach, but I don't expect that to happen. So
I
I,
think if Giannis is healthy or enough, I think that they've got. I think that that's going to motivate them to go ahead and sweep
yeah,
it from here on out.
yeah, absolutely, absolutely, yeah. I
Maybe
think
Miami can take another game, but I don't know. We'll see.
uh, we'll see, but.
South Beach
They
flu.
flew. You never know, right? You
Yeah.
never know. But I think, yeah, you're right, Gerald. Max 6, I think, but I think you're right. The Bucks are gonna dominate the next 4.
Once again, it's NBA observations. It is the Magic Man, Sean Grice, and me, Gerald Glassford. Wanted to go ahead and make sure everybody knows about what's going on with the NBA playoffs. The Boston Celtics and Atlanta Hawks. Game 2 is Tuesday. I don't see any which way after what I saw in the first game that the Boston Celtics are going to have any problem with Atlanta. Maybe Atlanta takes one of the home games, but I think this is also going to be a gentleman's sweep as well.
Yeah. I mean, when I originally did my prediction, I looked back in the notes. I had Boston in 5, but I remember I told you I thought it was going to be a sweep. So I'm not gonna puss out now. I do think it's going to be a sweep, but you're right, Joe. I think at most Atlanta takes a game, probably Game 3 if they're really desperate. But I also see a gentleman's sweep as well as Boston moves on to the second round.
And I know that's something that's concerned Joe as far as the momentum that that team can carry, especially that they see that Milwaukee is getting off to a rough start. So we'll definitely see what happens there. When it comes to what we're seeing though in the other Eastern Conference playoff mix right there between the Cleveland Cavaliers and the Knicks. The Knicks have already gotten off to a 1-0 lead. Their game is Tuesday as well. My friend, it looks like that this is going to be a barn burner. I still think it's going to go 7. The Knicks have every chance now that they're leading 1-0 to show everybody that they can go ahead and really get things done. To me, it's still a toss up. It comes down to I think that can the Knicks get enough scoring with their various options as opposed to Cleveland, who will always get scoring from Donovan Mitchell. Your thoughts on this series? Again, right now, New York leads 1-0. Are they going to go ahead and make Spike Lee happy, or are they going to go ahead and unfortunately not get things done the rest of the way out?
Yeah, you know what, Gerald? I happen to think Cleveland will come back strong in Game 2. Evan
Mhm.
Mobley didn't really have the best of
No,
games.
he did not look good at all.
No, and I'm sure he'll be slightly motivated also because I thought he'd receive more Defensive Player of the Year votes than he got.
Mhm.
Um, so I half expect them to just come out with guns a blazing, especially considering Donovan Mitchell was the only player who showed up for them in Game 1. But it took him over 30 shots to get 38 points. That's not really the way Cleveland wants to play. JB Bickerstaff likes to have his guards play a very sound pace game, and he likes to have his bigs kind of control the tempo in the paint as much as possible. That didn't happen. Gerald Thibodeau and even Julius Randle, who again, as we kind of speculated, wouldn't have the best shooting night. He was still trying to be impactful as he could, and he really disrupted Cleveland's front court. I expect a very close game, but I really think Cleveland. The onus is on Cleveland to come out here and win Game 2 because if you're down 0-2 going into Madison Square Garden, probably the biggest game the Knicks have had in probably the past I don't know 18 years.
Oh,
It's
you know everybody's gonna MSG is gonna
yeah,
be yeah hopping. Yeah.
yes. So I almost think it's a must win if you're Cleveland for Game 2.
Oh, okay. Yeah, absolutely. I think that definitely I agree with you on that. Adam, okay, I meant the Lakers out there for Nets. Would have, yeah, absolutely. But when it comes to what we're seeing here, though, with another series with Minnesota and Denver, when it comes to Minnesota and Denver, my friend, I'm not sure the first glance is going to give you the real test on that. I think that Denver will win still easily in 5 or 6 games. I don't think, though, that this first game where you had a tired Minnesota Timberwolves team going into the thin air in Denver, I think that they had no chance in that first game. But now that they've had a couple more days to acclimate themselves in that environment, do you see that they may pull off a little bit more than what we were thinking initially after that blowout? I really think that they got a decent chance to go ahead and sneak a couple games on Denver in this series.
Yeah, I think they do. I think they do. Carl Anthony Towns needs to play better though.
Yeah, I agree.
He was really ineffective after about the first 5 minutes of the game.
He looked
Uh,
tired. He was really
yeah,
tired. He looked
yeah, he
tired.
was. He did look tired, Gerald. You're right. He did look tired. Uh, Anthony Edwards led the team with 18 points, so you have to expect Minnesota to not come up with an 80-point effort again. At least get it in. The 110s is where they kind of like to play.
Well,
So
we're waiting for this Anthony Edwards explosion to
explosion.
happen here in this post season, and I've not seen it as of yet, which is kind of strange from someone who's supposed to be so athletic, supposed to be so great handling the ball, supposed to have a lot of these gifts, and I just don't see him taking command. We didn't see it in the game against the Lakers, and we haven't seen it yet so far. I mean, he had the decent game on Friday, but I think still that we need to see him up his game even more so he can go ahead and achieve the level of status I think a lot of people have him pegged for. But also, like you said, Cat has to really shoot well from the outside and probably get 25 to 30 himself as well.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. I mean, we all know Jokic is not the most fleet of foot defensively. So
Mhm.
the further you can bring him out, even from the paint, is a win because that'll open up space for Ant and a couple of other of their athletes. Although Gerald, in a series like this, they really do miss McDaniel's. They really do
Absolutely.
miss him. He could be very disruptive on the perimeter, especially not allowing Jamal Murray to get almost 10 rebounds. He was very effective on the boards for Denver. I don't expect that to happen again. I expect somebody to cover him. So it should be a different game. You have to expect Minnesota to just show up here and at least give it a go in the fourth quarter. I mean, that third quarter they were outscored 32-14. They didn't even show up.
Yeah, absolutely. I think they just, again, it's a tired team. Can they recover enough in the thin air in Denver to go ahead and acclimate themselves enough for it to maybe sneak out a victory? I think it'll be a lot closer than what you saw the first game around. We'll definitely see on that one. But it is the Lakers fast break. It is NBA observations. And before we get to the Lakers, just a little bit more to cover here at the NBA playoffs. I know we've talked a little bit already about Sacramento and Golden State. We've already talked about what's gone on with Denver and Minnesota. The other LA team, the one we don't like, got a victory on the road in Phoenix thanks to Kawhi Leonard being Kawhi Leonard and looking like a Kawhi Leonard type of game. But the big thing was, and the big story was Russell Westbrook, of all people, who had a typical Russell Westbrook Lakers style game, 3 of 19, yet still managed to make some plays on the defensive end, especially one on Booker at the very last second to go ahead and vault his team to victory. Your thoughts on this series and this game, my friend? Because again, after that, he went into the clubhouse, I guess, for the season ticket holders and I guess he was cutting through and chewed out a fan who was calling him Westbrick. When I'm 3 for 19, I guess you could probably call me all the brick names you want, really personally, but he always takes offense to it. But to go ahead and drop an F bomb standing right above the guy's kid, I thought was inappropriate. I think he should have held himself back on that. That part I disagree with on what he was saying, but going after the guy and telling what for outside of that, it was all right. I would have the guy probably deserved it for calling Westbrook. But your thoughts on this, my friend? Because again, you've got a team in the Clippers that was without Paul George, but they took game one. They probably won't have George throughout the series, is what the Clippers are telling us. But right now, the Clippers have the advantage.
Yes, they do, Gerald. And by the way, hats off to that young man who was unfazed by everything
He
and
just wanted
kept.
to eat his
You just,
pizza, man.
yeah,
He
yeah,
just
he
wanted to eat
did.
pizza.
I was wondering what he was eating at first. Whether there was a sirloin steak or beef
I
jerky.
heard it. From what I've heard on the podcast, it was a sirloin
Lloyd
pizza.
pizza. Yeah. So that
I want
kid.
one of those,
So
man.
do I. So do I. And if I was hangry as that young man was, I would be unfazed about what was going on as well. I focus on what I'm eating when I'm hangry. But we
Well, but
digress.
we would probably be if we went to Phoenix right now, became season ticket holders, and went in there with Laker jackets and Laker sweats on, and tried to go ahead and get free pizza, sirloin tip pizza. I don't think the other Phoenix fans out there would take kindly to a couple Lakers fans eating their sirloin tip pizza. So we'll leave it
Not
at
at all.
that.
Yeah.
Not at all.
We should call him West Starks. I mean, he.
Mark, I think that's right. If I'm making 48 million, call me anything you want. That's what Mark is saying. Yeah, actually, I agree with you. If I'm making 48 million, who's the one going home with a smile on their face? You or the guy with the son with a sirloin tip pizza?
Yeah. We should start calling him Russell West Starks because he played like John Starks yesterday. That was like, look, we've never, and I wanna be clear about this. We have never ever questioned his desire to win the game. He plays to win. It's just the
No.
style of play has bothered us to
Well, it's
no
the
end.
execution, it's the choices, the lack of clutch play in the clutch. Those type of things have really bothered us. But then again, it worked yet last night for him that he was able to, despite having a typical Russell Westbrook day at 3 for 19, he was able to do enough to get the job done.
Oh, 100%. The last sequence defensively summed it up perfectly.
Yep.
Shot is missed. He can't grab the rebound, so he decides I'm gonna throw it off Devin Booker, who's too busy arguing with the refs over not having a foul called to even pay attention to the loose ball. Kind of typified Booker's career up
Maybe
until
he
this
was thinking
point.
about the sirloin.
Yeah,
Well, maybe he was thinking about the sirloin tip pizza.
maybe he was.
Maybe
Maybe
he
he
was.
was. Because now you're
Hey,
making me hungry. Stop saying
I,
sirloin pizza,
There you
please.
go. Hey, Joe. Joe's on the road coming back from the Padres game, which they lost 2-0. It is Joe Soro for LakersBall.com. So pardon the road noise out there. Joe, great to have you here, my friend. Did you get yourself some sirloin tip pizza while you were out at San Diego?
I was just gonna ask, what the hell is sirloin tip pizza?
Did
Oh,
you
Joe,
see?
didn't you see the video of Russ telling the fan to shut up?
I don't know which video you're talking about. I think he's done that like 40 times in his
Well,
career.
it
Which
was
one are you
from
talking about?
It was from yesterday, Joe.
It
When
was from
when
yesterday. And no, I don't think it was that after all that said. I think it was halftime or something.
halftime, yeah.
Yeah, it was halftime. He came out. There's basically an entry. There's basically a club for season ticket holders where you could get free food. And during the pandemic, the players on the visiting side, they used that as a shortcut to go right to the court. And I guess Russell Westbrook was still doing that. And the guy called him Westbrick. And next thing you know, you see the video of the guy of Westbrook in his face, telling him to MF, don't call me that, MF, MF. And then, right below, when he's yelling the MF is like an 8 or 9-year-old kid holding on to a pizza, a sirloin. It looked like steak pizza.
Unfazed,
Yeah,
unfazed, not even worried about the
yeah,
conversation.
because I think Obi Omosuk from ESPN, he verified it was like a sirloin pizza because he had it as well. So that's why we're talking sirloin pizza on the show, my friend. But yeah, just another Russell Westbrook performance there. Any thoughts on the Phoenix Suns and the Clippers as the Clippers lead 1-0, my friend?
Yeah, there seems to be something that's working in LA where their cohesiveness is just it doesn't matter if Paul George is playing, if Kawhi's having an off night, they just seem like they got a good team concept there. Phoenix lost their first game with Durant in the starting lineup. So, I mean, it was eventually going to happen. It just happened to be the first game of the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know where to go with that at the moment. We'll be able to kind of know a little bit more with Game Two's finality. But I to talk about in terms of specific games or series, I'm happy to say that I what I thought was going to happen with Sacramento is actually happening. Everyone said that they wanted to play Sacramento in the first round, and they are putting a shellacking on the Warriors right now. And don't be surprised if they end that series in 5.
No, I think it's going to go 7, Joe. I think it all depends on if Golden State will win a game on the road, which again, as you and I both know, they have not done very much of the season. So we'll see if they can do that. I think they're going to take both games in Golden State. I think it's just going to be, they win 2, Golden State wins 2, Sacramento wins in Sacramento, Golden State wins game 6, and then it all comes down to game 7. I think this has the earmarks of 7. I really like how competitive it is. It got really nasty and ugly tonight. You saw Domantas Sabonis basically getting mugged. I think he still needs to go and file a police report, but we'll see what happens there as that series continues on later in the week. But now we get to the point where we're here talking about the Lakers and the Grizzlies, my friend. I'm glad you're here for it. Once again, it's NBA Observations. It is Joe Soro, Magic Man in the morning, Sean Grice, and also me as well. Me, Gerald Glassford. Thanks so much for watching and listening. Again, thanks so much for being part of our huge, over 2,000 people either watched or listened to our awesome show post game on Sunday. So we truly appreciate you taking the time to doing so. Cannot thank you enough for supporting us here at the Lakers Fast Break. But it is the Lakers because they won that we had so much support, and they did win indeed. Your thoughts, Joe, on this? When it comes to Austin Reaves, who I was commenting in the email last night, as far as thinking back on it as I was watching a replay, Austin Reaves could have been a type of player going off the two-way that we could have signed for a 3 or 4 year deal for a really cheap low price of maybe like what 5-6 million. One of those really low end deals, those low cost deals that you see a lot of these second rounders and two-way players get once they come off the two-way. Your thoughts now as Austin Reaves has definitively proven me wrong and that he's actually can be a great starting player on a winning team.
Well, in defending the Laker organization on this one, I seriously doubt the Lakers thought Austin Reaves, an undrafted player, would turn into currently a third star on the Lakers. Yes, he is the third star. It's not D'Angelo Russell. It's not Vanderbilt. It's not Beasley. It's at this moment, it's Austin Reaves. And his performance isn't about just numbers. I mean, he has the numbers, but it's when he produces the numbers. And I guess his aura is just lifting the team into another level. And the Lakers have to start getting an understanding that out of all the things that they've made mistakes in, there's one thing where they haven't made a mistake, even during the lean years of the Julius Randles and the first stint with D'Angelo Russell and Lonzo Ball is their talent evaluation and development is off the charts good. And you have to stop looking at those picks, or I should say those acquisitions, and going, well, we'll just give them a 2-year and hope for whatever. I'm like, you guys are doing something right here. Start paying attention a little more to these guys. But I mean, I guess how can you? Undrafted guy again.
Yeah, but the same thing was with THT and now Max Christie if he blows up. But you see with Austin Reaves, these guys, like you said, he's going to get a lot of money in the offseason. This could have been prevented with some better thought process.
That's a hindsight, Gerald. This is a hindsight. There's no way anyone thought he would turn into this. There's just no way. You cannot convince me that anyone knew anything.
No, not
in that
into
realm.
this per se, but he could have been again somebody that could have been effective as a rotation player as far as as a floor from what we were seeing even last year.
Okay, they probably assumed, okay, this guy could be a rotational player, and we've discussed the fact that Austin Reaves would likely be his best position would be coming off the bench as a sixth man and probably winning sixth man of the year awards left and right throughout his career. But he even has surprised us in that this guy looks like a starter. He does not look like a sixth man anymore. I thought he was a sixth man a few months ago. Now I'm going, man, this guy might actually be a starter because he's got this canny ability to control the ball in traffic, and not only do that, make a shot when he's being fouled. I mean, you cannot put a value on that. That's very frustrating for a defense. It doesn't matter what it is, and it didn't matter if Ja was guarding him. It didn't matter if Triple J was hovering around. He just seems to slither around. It's very Manu Ginobili-like.
Yes, and you've made that the reference several times.
Yes,
I'm starting to believe a little bit of it.
Yes, I mean he doesn't have the speed. He'll never have the speed of Manu, but if he continues to hone in on his skills and continue to develop in the next 2 to 3 years, this guy will be a star. He will be a star next to stars. He won't be a number one, probably not a number two, but absolutely a bona fide 3, kind of in the mode of a Lamar Odom. A Lamar Odom was the perfect 3 during the back-to-back title teams in the late 2010s. So you can't predict something like that. I don't think you could have, looking at how he came out of college. You just can't. The only thing that's kind of disappointing is there was a question asked on LakersBall.com. I've been neglecting my crew over there a lot, so I try to spend a little bit more time today talking to them. One particular poster had a really good question. They're like, well, who would you pick between Austin Reaves and Alex Caruso? And my first response was, I want both.
And they had the opportunity to sign both, and you see what happened there.
And I think the Lakers need to, Max Christie needs to be now you need to start looking at Max Christie a little different, because Max Christie has a little bit of flair, a little bit of confidence in him. Don't give that guy a shot.
But then it goes back to Joe. The reason why we don't have Alex Caruso is because the THT contract. The THT contract wouldn't have been signed had the Lakers had originally gone and done what most teams do with their 2-year, their second round draft picks to a 3-4-year contract for very cheap prices. They would have never put themselves in that situation.
I think losing Alex had more to do with the fact that they took a chance. They decided to choose Taylor Horton Tucker.
But again, because they had him, but they had to sign him. Had they done the right thing in the first place and just signed him to the one of those?
But how do you know? How do you know, Gerald? How do you know that Alex Caruso would have turned into he's another undrafted player? You don't know this. You just don't know.
It's a low risk, but it's so low risk signing for what, $1.5 million a year over that first 3-4 year contracts. Those are designed to be low risk, potentially high reward type of contracts.
I would say, in your defense, I would say with the positiveness in undrafted high second round picks, maybe it's time that they start thinking about that now. Maybe there's some people out there that need to remind them
I mean, because the other draft picks around Max Christie got 4-year deals for $6 million. And I'll just leave it at that, while Christie only got signed for 2. This is a habit they've gotten themselves
Well, the
into.
habit is, I'll tell you why they do that. The habit is always trying to make sure that they don't get themselves in any kind of contracts that they're going to be saddled with in case they need money or something to make a big trade. The Lakers have always been about the big star. They've always been about making the big trade. So maybe by not having that contract go beyond a certain time, maybe that's what they're trying to do to free up, money.
Sean, weigh in on this, my friend. Who is right and who is wrong? Actually, it doesn't need to be a right or wrong. The fact
I'm
is,
right. I'm right.
we still win because Austin Reaves
I'm right.
has
There's no discussion.
exceeded all of our operations. Hush for a second, man. You're on the side of the road. Go ahead, Sean.
Yeah, no, I was gonna say, no, I'm not gonna be Switzerland here. um, yeah, uh, they should have signed him to a normal rookie level contract, Gerald.
This is a mandate, seemingly. When you've done it once, okay, maybe you're guessing on the player, but when you've done it 3 times now with 3
hmm
different players, it tells me there's a pattern, tells me there's a way and a concept of how they're thinking as opposed to other NBA teams.
Yeah, it's almost as if
They're hedging
they're
their
the
bets.
bets. Exactly. We're on the same wavelength here. That's exactly what they're doing. Oh, if they blow up, yeah, we'll deal with it then. But if they're not being effective, well, we could just dispose of a contract and bring somebody else in who we think
Well, it's
can
only
do
a
the job.
million, million and a half a year.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
real to really, yeah. Just
Yeah.
it's
Really
just such a
nickel and diming
yeah.
unnecessarily so.
It is, and it's irritating. But again, it is water under the bridge because we still have Austin Reeves for now. We don't know if we will in the summer. We'll have to wait and see, my
Well,
friend.
I will say this, Gerald. That March 7th game, if anybody's got time tonight or tomorrow to rewatch that, I would. That's when the Lakers played the Grizzlies last before Game One. LeBron did not play that game, but Troy Brown Jr., Austin Reaves, and Rui Hachimura all played effectively in that game, and they all played effectively in Game One as well. So I expect Rui and Austin to come out in Game Two and play really well. I'm not expecting Rui to score 29 points again,
And that's
but
one thing I want to ask you. I mean, when you see Austin Reeves doing as well as he did and Rui as well as he did, you can't expect them both to play at that high of level each and every time out. Yet, maybe Austin Reeves is closer to it, but Rui, you're not. If you were thinking that Rui is going to get 29 points again, I understand what Desmond Bain is saying, but when it comes to as Joe spins around as far as where he's at, well, I get what Desmond Bain is saying. Let's see Rui do that again. I'm just asking
Mhm.
for 15. If he can get me
That's it.
15 to 17, I think the Lakers will still put themselves in a great position to win.
Yeah, I agree, Gerald. 15 to 17 is just right on the money. Just that's a good amount of production where I still think we can pull out a victory. Um, another. So I did some quick research, Gerald, and since the Maxi Kleba three at the buzzer, okay, the, the Lakers have gone 9-3 since and 1-0 in the playoffs. Uh, During that 13 game stretch, their point differential is 7.8, which is like we're talking Milwaukee Bucks, Denver Nuggets good. Now, if you take away the 25-point win against Houston in that little stretch, the point differential is still 5.8. That's still really good, Gerald. That's almost 6 points a game.
I know, but you and I have the eye test. We saw those games heading into the
Yeah,
first round matchup.
you can't really. It's a large enough sample size where you think you can make heads or tails of it, but you really can't.
The Lakers were getting the win But I think it's
Yeah,
probably the key to
yeah.
saying that as far as on they were getting those
but
wins, but was
but
the
yes.
big thing with that. But again, no reason to go ahead and complain from what we saw on Sunday. Absolutely a fantastic game. Joe, I want to get you while you're on the road again. On the road again. Do 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 do. What I want to ask you this though, Rui is not going to score 29 in game 2, most likely not. What do you need from him? Or maybe we should get from the other guy coming off the bench, Dennis Schroeder, the main cog. It seems like the Lakers rotation is 7 players you can count on. When it comes to Troy Brown, when it comes to Lonnie Walker or anyone else, they can't really depend on those guys to go ahead and produce for you. But when it comes to Dennis Schroeder, could you see him have a game like maybe what we saw from Rui in that first game one on Wednesday?
Well, it does seem like that the role players take turns on who's the effective one each game.
Yeah,
I don't expect Rui to hit 5 of 6 threes and
no,
scoring 29 points, but I would like him to hit timely threes at the right moments, which I believe he can still do. And his confidence is way up. He's got something to play for beyond the season, next big contract. Confidence and money are the two best things a player can have. Playoff, whether the playoffs, whether the regular season, doesn't matter. When you're confident and you got money staring at you in a few months, hey, use that as your fuel, and I believe that's what Rui's using. Dennis Schroeder always has 2 good games, 1 okay game, 1 bad game. That just kind of factor that in during a week, right?
yeah.
2 good games, 1 okay game, 1 bad game. I don't know if you can constitute this last game as a bad game,
I thought it was okay.
but it was okay. So either we're going to get a really good game or a really bad one next time. But then again, all we need is D'Angelo to continue to make his shots when he's got them, and that's usually an okay thing. As long as Schroeder or D'Lo are doing their thing, I think we're okay, depending on who it is. Whoever
Well,
it is, fine.
as long as they don't become invisible, because D'Lo, especially in some games, the Lakers has become invisible. I know that yesterday, when it comes to you, Sean, I'll let you go ahead and continue to drive, Joe, right now before I hit you back up. When it comes to D'Angelo Russell, I think that's the key to what we're seeing here with D'Angelo. He's got to be active and involved and invested. He's not the greatest defender in the world, but he keeps the defense honest because he can hit the three. I see them always trying to play up on him and try to rush him because he likes to play at a certain speed. I think that's the key to playing defense against D'Angelo. But if he's able to get the right screens, he can slip through them and really get his shot. But the thing is, he has a tendency to go invisible even in his time in the Lakers. Your thoughts on how important it is for D'Angelo to actually play well on Wednesday?
Oh, I think that's one of the most important keys to the game, Gerald. I think that starts with look the Anthony Davis got fed early in game one.
Mhm.
I would still go back to that game plan. I would, but I would really try and involve D'Angelo Russell as much as I could, Gerald, because you're right. He does have a tendency to get disinterested if he's not getting touches or if his shot's not falling. He can, he could have 25 minutes in a game where he's shooting 6 of 8, he's 3 of 4 from three. And he's got 5, 6 assists. And then there are times when he could play 30 minutes and he's got 4 points and 1 assist. So he really needs to be more of an agitator, I would say, defensively as well, Gerald, on Wednesday, especially if Ja is not there. If Ja is not playing, I have confidence that if you put either one of Austin Reaves or D'Angelo Russell on Tyus Jones, they wouldn't they wouldn't look ridiculous.
Well, again, to me, it's about trying to keep D'Angelo focused in there, keep him focused and into the game because again, he has a tendency. Go ahead, Sean.
Yeah, no, Gerald, exactly right.
He has a
Like,
tendency to get invisible at times. Adam's saying a point guard's combo is pretty solid. It is for the most part, but then again, Adam, you got to admit that sometimes D'Angelo is sometimes hard to find.
Yeah, D'Lo's focus can drift. There's no question about that. So I think what you're looking for is if one of them has an off night shooting, what else are they doing to try and impact the team to
Yes,
try and win?
agree.
Now, to his credit, in the playing game, D'Angelo did have 8 assists against Minnesota. So he was trying to be impactful in other ways. But I would say for the most part, Joe, you're right. If his shot's falling, it's not just being a quality facilitator. You also have to try and be as big of an agitator and a solid defender as you can to help the team.
I agree with you on that. Once again, it is NBA observations. It is the Magic Man in the Morning host, Sean Grice, and of course, the guy that's on the road again. It is Joe Soro driving up and down the freeways. Watch out, everyone, if you're driving. Could be Joe Soro coming after you. Joe, I'll let you stop with a final thought on what you're looking forward to this Wednesday from the Los Angeles Lakers.
Well, considering we the Grizzlies are not going to have John Morant, I know it's not official, but it just doesn't look like he's going to be there. This is the time to put your foot on the throat and finish this series. You win the first 2 games in Memphis. You have an injured John Morant who's not playing in game 2, likely probably not playing at full strength at all, if at all, the rest of the way. You need to put your foot on the throat and end this. Uh, never that I imagined that they have a shot to sweep Memphis. However, if they play the way they played in game 1 and game 2, they will win that game, and it'll be in dominant fashion. And at that point, how do you bet against the Lakers at home with 2 games? How do you bet against the Lakers when they're playing at home in game 3 and 4, up 2-0? I mean, at that point, you gotta the only people that are gonna cost them their games is the Lakers, not just playing lackadaisical. So that's kind of where I'm at on that.
Well, we'll hope that that's the case because the thing is, the Lakers sometimes pull up those duds at home that we've seen before. But again, this could be an issue where if they win game 2, they have so much momentum. If John Morant is continually out of the lineup and his hand hurts too much, obviously that's going to play a key factor as well. Definitely looking forward to hearing more thoughts from you guys
Well,
tomorrow.
we also want to factor in too, Gerald, that the rest in between these games is a massive advantage for the Lakers.
This week, not next week. If they stretch it to 7, it goes day after day after
Right,
day.
right. So, but in general, there's no back to backs. You get a few 2-day rests in between. This is at the advantage of the Lakers, and for the Lakers, if they're looking at this as a positive, right? Because I really believe that, you know, I'm maybe praising the Kings too much too early here. You're predicting that the Warriors are going to probably tie this up, which would be a good thing because if somehow the Lakers can end the series quickly, that game will go 6-7 if the Warriors play as well as they have all year at home. Now you get even more rest before you face one of those 2 teams.
Because Joe, it does not behoove the Lakers to stretch this thing out to 5 to 7 games because games 5, 6, and 7 are played. Get this on a Wednesday, Friday, and Sunday. So it will be only one day off between those games. So it is imperative that the Lakers try to finish this off as fast as possible. And with Sacramento even leading 2-0 and seeing the latest reports on Domantas Sabonis actually getting x-rays right now on his ribs and his lungs, even though he finished the game, just to make sure he actually still has ribs and lungs intact after what Draymond Green did to him as far as trying to leap off of him, off of his lungs, which I thought was, again, just another Draymond Green move indeed. But your thoughts on this, what's going on with the Lakers, Joe, before we head on out, my friend?
What's going on with the Lakers is right now their confidence is at an all-time high for this
Yes.
season, and they should be even higher knowing that their Memphis's main guy is going to be out. You cannot lose this game if John Morant's not playing,
Agree.
especially if you have AD doing what he's doing. And that's the thing here, guys. If AD plays like he did in game 1, they're not losing this game. It's that
Well,
simple.
Well, Tyus Jones started the last game he played against the Lakers, and the Lakers kicked their ass. So
We'll see. Again,
that was March 7th. The Lakers defeated the Grizzlies at Staples. Uh, Memphis
Tyus
went
is good, but he just does not bring the same dynamic that Ja Morant does.
no. What he brings to the table in efficiency, he lacks in athleticism and charisma out there, Gerald.
I agree. I agree as well. But Joe, we're gonna let you go on the highway, my friend. Sean, we're gonna let you get some sleep. Late night for you. I know you've been trying to work on some snack packs. Love to get on one of those snack packs with you at some point in time here this week. I'd love to do that. I know Joe as well. I know you've been trying to reach out to the other members of the staff that's out there as far as the panelists are concerned. So hopefully we can go ahead and get some things done. But we will have shows tomorrow for you and throughout the week. So we've got a whole bunch of content coming. Again, we also got the Wednesday playback.tv/Lakers Fast Break. And of course, everything when it comes to our post game shows and the best chat room that's out there right here at the Lakers Fast Break. So for Joe Soro heading out on the highway, watch out. Watch out, Joe. Be careful out there. Don't drink and drive. Don't podcast and drive. He's drinking it. Oh my gosh. Watch out. Watch out. And
Ginger
for
ale, ladies and gentlemen. That's ginger ale.
it's ginger
Water,
ale.
guys. It's just water.
It's just water. Okay. Fair enough. Fair enough. It is just water indeed. But once again, it's Joe Soro, LakersBall.com and Simblades.com. And of course, Sean Grice, the madman from Toronto and the host of the Magic Man in the Morning. Hopefully, you'll get a chance to check out our shows this week. We got plenty lined up for you. Got a lot of things that we got to go ahead and take care of. We even got, we even haven't announced the Defensive Player of the Year, or which award have we not announced as of yet?
Yeah, that's the defensive player of the year. Yeah.
Okay, so I'll let you announce that on one of your upcoming snack packs, my friend. But for Magic Man Sean Grice, and of course, Mr. Joe Soro, aka Ox 1947, it's Gerald Glassford for the Lakers Fast Break. If you have any questions for us, post them below in the comments after we're off the air, or you can always hit us up on social media, and of course, Lakers Fast Break at yahoo.com. Thanks so much for joining us. Really, really appreciate everyone out there giving us all the love and support on Sunday. Got a huge amount of support, downloads, views, subscribers. Probably one of our best days ever. Hoping for more good things, hoping for more great days like that from all of us, because that means the Lakers win, which is most important. And also means, a lot of good things for us here as well, right here at the Lakers Fast Break Podcast.